Hi, welcome to ELVPrasad Techzone. Today I will explain why we need big data. So while collecting data, we may deal with huge volume of data or different varieties of data, even different velocities of data. So the volume of data may be the petabytes to zettabytes, even more than that. A variety of data may be structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. So velocity of data means how speed we will be getting data from source and how we are able to collect data. So we'll see how what are the types of data, that is structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. So which are like structured data is like data which is stored in RWMS tables in the form of rows and columns. So unstructured data, that is in the form of email, images, audio files, video files, any Word or PDF documents is in unstructured data. So semi-structured data, the data like XML or JSON or the data which is in the Excel sheets is a semi-structured data. So how large volume of data can be processed without big data technologies? Let us see, for example, we have a one machine with 1 TB of hard disk. We can process 1 TB of data with this machine. To process 3 TB of data, we may need 3 machines with 1 TB each. Otherwise, we may need one machine with 3 TB hard disk. If size of the data processing increases, we may have to enhance the hard disk size. But practically, it is a very difficult task, like uh, changing the size of the disk with the increase in the size of the data bus. So what do we need to handle 3 Vs of data? So as in the earlier slide, we have seen how we can process the data with the uh, our traditional technologies. So what is the problem we are facing? That is with the 3 Vs of data. 3 Vs, what are 3 Vs? Which are value and variety of data and velocity of data. How volume of data we can improve that, and different variety of data, and how speed the data we are getting, how we can handle. Thus, we can see with the 3 Vs of data. If you are unable to handle these 3 Vs of data, then we should move to big data technologies. So, what exactly the 3 Vs? How we can solve this problem with the big data? So, value means if the value of the data increases, if you have the flexibility to add number of machines with an increase in the size of the data processing, and those resources should be managed by one master, so that we can keep and add the machines with increase in the data processing. For example, the large volume of data should be divided into small chunks, and which should be processed in parallel across different machines, and finally the aggregator results should be sent back to the master. So the data, if you are getting a large volume of data, that has to be divided into some small chunks, and which should be processed in parallel across different machines, and finally they are combined, and which should be sent back to the master. In that way we can resolve this issue, and data should be processed with zero loss of data even there is any failure of machines. So while doing this data processing, if there is any failure of machine, we should not lose any data. So means if something fails, that should be recovered from some backup machine. So like that we can solve those kind of things. So these features are available in big data technology. That's why if we are unable to handle 3 weeks of data, then we should move to the big data technologies. So what are the big data technologies? Here, we should move to big data technologies when we are unable to handle 3 weeks of data, that is volume of data, variety of data, and velocity of data. So we can use big data processing methodologies on premises like Hadoop ecosystems, Spark data processing with Yawk or Mesos, etc. So that is an on-premises big data technologies we can set up. And one other is cloud big data processing. We can do this with the AWS EMR, or we can do with the AWS EMR. That's fine. And one more is Azure Databricks, and with the storage pointing to blob storage, or AWS S3, or Google Cloud JPS, or cloud big data processing with Google Cloud, along with the built-in services and storage systems like Policies. So in this way, we can set up big data technologies on premises, or otherwise we can do this big data processing on cloud. So we'll do these kind of things on premises as well as the cloud. We'll see the upcoming topics in next videos. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day.